this is Sabina at Cross Keys Crafts. Today's card was again inspired by a mug of mine. I've already got a card on this channel with a little piglet that was based on one of my mugs, and this one I think is from the same range. I think it's from Asda, one of the cheap ones. And every time I look at it, when I open the cupboard, I see the little lovely hedgehog, and every time I think I should turn this into a card. And I've had this idea for ages, never got round to doing it, and today I thought, well, it's supposed to be a really quick video, I've got time for that today. So I've already gone ahead and die cut a few pieces. These are all created with nesting dies, except for some little circles which I die cut with this sort of die. And what this is, I've written down the measurements just in case you're interested. These ovals here, these are 2 brown ovals, and I've got one here in a sort of cream colour and one in white. These are from a nesting die set that has got a scalloped edge and straight edges alternating. So this is the 3rd size down, so the next one was a straight one, then a scallop one, and then the next one down. And the biggest one here, the brown one, that's 5 3/8 by 6 3/4. These are approximate measures, and I know I will have to make my own envelope for that. Obviously use what you have. You can even cut these by hand. If you don't have a scalloped edge, you might have like a torn edge, or you might have one of those fancy scissors that you can cut scalloped edges out with. Anything is fine, but it doesn't have to be precise. So just use your scissors, just draw an oval, or you could even print one off on the computer and then cut it out. Very easy. So the small one here, that's 3 7/8 by 5 1/4, again approximately. So 1 in cream, 1 in white. The white one's just for the inside to put my greeting on. For the outside we just need the one here. Just looking whether it's got a different texture. Now this one's a bit rougher than this one. Oh, by the way, both of these are from the little cardstock, which is 270 GSM. You want a fairly decent heavyweight cardstock, so I wouldn't go lower than 230 because this is our card base really. And then I've got this one circle here that is 3 1/4 in diameter, and then I've cut 3 little ovals. These are from a different set. I bought myself a new oval die set because I wanted narrow ones. These are really sort of roundish, and these were some narrow ones. I should have 3 of those. I meant to cut another one, maybe I forgot, maybe I have to cut one more. We need 2 for the arms and then 1 for the ears. And then I cut an even smaller one. Oh, did I say this one is 1 inch wide and 1 3/4 in length. And then the smallest one here, I've cut 2 in the cream and 1 in pink. That's just 5/8 across and 1 1/4 in length. So, and then for the face, for the eyes, I have used this circle punch here. That's the only circle punch I own. This is about 3/4 of an inch. Is that right? Yeah, about 3/4 of an inch. But I wasn't quite sure whether this would be too big for the eyes, and this is why I used this die as well to cut some smaller circles. So we need 2 black ones for the eyes. I've also used the bigger one in pink, same color as the inner of the ears, and I then cut a little heart out that I thought would be nice for the nose. Let me just zoom in. I just realized it's all very tiny. This one I think is from the Paper Craft Society box by Sam Calcott, the Christmas one with the gingerbread man. So you might have a little heart die as well. Oh, and then I've got some little white circles. They are just cut with an ordinary hole punch. They go inside the eyes here. And then this one here is also a nesting die. a balloon one. I would like the hedgehog to hold a balloon. You could also do something else, like here, hold a strawberry. I thought about a heart, but I've got enough, heart cards, and I thought this might be a bit nicer. And I've already tied a little ribbon to this. This is, sorry, if I say tied, sorry, I've tied a bow in the ribbon, but I've just glued it on, and I used some acrylic glue this morning. This is already dry, just to hold the knot in place and the whole bow itself. I just glued it on here, and this is just one of those ribbons you get with when you've got new t-shirts, the ones that keep the t-shirts on hangers in the shop. I always cut these out, and then I've got a little bit of ribbon. But you could also use any sort of twine, embroidery, floss, anything like that would work. Yeah, and I think this is all we need. One thing I want to show you, because I'm not showing you the die cutting, is this. This is my old die cutting plate. I have just treated myself to some new plates. Let me just take these off without throwing everything down here. And I'm only using one new one, because what I do is, here you can see this here, I mark my plates bottom and top, and I always use the same plate at the bottom. That's the one I cut into. Some people like the sandwich the other way around and have the dice facing upwards, then the cardstock on there, and then cut in the top plate basically. So this has been really damaged. I found recently it wasn't cutting very well anymore. I've got so much residue here. You can give them a good brush, but it was getting so warped now. I treated myself to some new plates. But the one I had on the top, let me show you that as well here on the side. Although I've just cut into that today with that project. So the one I had on the top, that is really still in good condition. You can see it's not warped at all. Obviously these are all marks from today's cutting. So this is going at the bottom now, and this is the new one. I don't need to mark it because I can tell the difference. This one I'm using on the top now, and once this one gets all shabby, I will place that one at the bottom. Sorry, no, I will dispose of that one, and then the top one will go on the bottom, and so on. So I'm only basically replacing one plate at a time, and I think that's a quite useful tip. So for the assembly, I've got my mug here as reference, although it's quite straightforward. I'm placing the body down first, and I will actually have that a little bit lower here than I have it at the top, because I want to leave some space for the ears. But I'll make sure it's quite, the spacing is even on either side. And it's also sometimes a bit tricky to lay your oval down flat, but I think mine is pretty flat here. And I'm just using my magic glue. I've got a thick cardstock here, so that should work okay without any working or any marks of the glue. Obviously any glue is fine, whatever you prefer. So I'm placing it a bit further down, and again I'm trying to have this properly aligned as far as that is doable with these ovals. So for the ear, or ears I should say, I'm taking one of those cream coloured circles, ovals, not circles, and this pink one, and placing that in the middle here, and I'm leaving that to dry. And when it's dry, I will cut it in half this way. That will make my two ears. So then I've got my face here. So I'm going to play around a little bit with the placement of the cheeks here. The mouth, I think itself, I will actually draw on. So I've got the nose here, which is the upside down heart. Let me zoom in a little bit for you. So that will have to go out here. So now I can test whether the bigger eyes are too big, whether that looks awkward. Just placing these on there as well, just to See, yeah, I think they're too big. So I'm using the smaller ones. Let me just measure them for you. They're just under 1/2 inch. Yeah, I think they look better. So I'm just thinking I might move them a little bit lower, although they're quite high up on the mug there. But I think it'll look nice like this. And I think the nose needs to go a bit lower as well. That looks more natural. So I'm actually getting my pickup tool. Oh, here it is on the desk. So, and I'm putting the glue on the card. I sometimes find that easier than putting glue on the little bits here. Same when I put down, you know, beads and sequins and rhinestones. I find it easier to place the glue on the card and then just putting the element on top. This one's a bit easier. I'm not sure whether they've got a right way around, whether you can tell the difference the way they've been punched, but I think that's nice. Doesn't matter. Make sure I press them down thoroughly. Same with these here. You can tell which one's the top and which one's the bottom. So I think that might be enough. Especially when I press it down now, the glue will spread out. So I'm just testing whether these are too big now. I'll tell you what, I'll dismiss the idea of now using the white hole punches. I think I will just use a Posca pen afterwards. So I can now cut this in half. And I will place this behind the face. So again, I'm looking at the mug, so I want them sort of facing outwards, just like this. So I'm just popping a little bit of glue. I've got obviously 2 levels here, but I think with the glue it should be okay. And they're sort of going on a diagonal from that eye. Put a little bit more glue here. Hope I'm not going off camera. There's a bit of glue oozing out. So if you ever have that, I'm using these silicone tips there on the other end of my stylus, and I wipe it away whilst it's still wet. Find that easier. If it's already dried, you can always use a glue eraser, but I think this is definitely easier. Just thinking this might also work as like a cat. If you needed to make a cat card, just don't bother about the brown surround. So again, moving the excess here. Yeah, I'm leaving this to dry. So I think this is no. I can do one more thing now before I need to glue the face on. I just get my scoring board out. I said scoring board, obviously I mean the scoreboard. So with this one here, the second oval, I'm going to place this now into my scoreboard. Let's zoom out a little bit more, and again I need to be mindful that that is sort of straight, so not at an angle like this, as straight as I can get it. I think this looks about right. And now I'm taking my tool here, and I'm just thinking where I want to score. I'm scoring at a half, so I'm putting my tool here in the groove, and then I'm going over this here. I'm doing this twice because it's quite a heavyweight cardstock, and that here creates a little flap. I'm going to fold that. I don't need to burnish it terribly, I'm going to fold this because this will be where we adhere the front. For this step I'm using my Cosmic Shimmer Glue. It's a quick grab glue and I really want this to adhere fairly quickly. So just on this flap I'm putting some glue. Not all to the edge because I don't want this to ooze out. And now I need to align the front here, again having the bigger edge on the top, and try to get this as straight as possible. I'm aligning it actually on the left hand side first. If you have circles it never matters, but with these it most certainly does matter. So, and I'm actually moving it up a little bit. Oops, just moved it now when I try to pick it up. So you can pinch a little bit. It doesn't have to be 100%, but you want it fairly even and matching. Sorry if the light doesn't pick it up. I'm trying to get it straight before the glue dries. And when you've got it aligned at the bottom, it might not align at the top. This can be quite a bit tricky. So, tell you what, I'll just concentrate on the top. I think I might not bother too much about the bottom because this doesn't want to cooperate. So, the top that we really need to align. So, and again, I've got a bit of excess glue there that I can wipe away. As long as I don't get it on the front of the card, I don't mind. So yeah, it's a bit misaligned at this side, but it doesn't really matter. It's a homemade card. So I'm just pressing this down. And I'm not opening it yet because then it will come undone again. So now I can place the head down. And it's up to me really. I could move it up a little bit. I didn't plan this too much ahead because obviously the ears are overhanging a little bit, but I think that's quite nice rather than having it too low, because if I've got it too low I don't have any space for the arms. So I think I will place it here. I've got a bit of gap here that I might want to put a little piece of cardstock underneath. If you're very worried about that, I think I might be okay, because no, I will actually put a little piece of card underneath here, some scrap paper. Obviously the ears take this back onto the same level, but I could do with a bit of a support here. Bear with me whilst I cut that. This is literally just scrap paper. I just got this bit back out of the bin, so I'm just placing this a little bit here, not too low because the oval will be touching that area, just to give it a little bit more support here at the top. And then I can put glue all over, but I won't put any glue on the tips of the ears because they will overhang. So I'm just putting glue on here. Oops, might even be too high there. I think that's enough. So I want a little bit of the brown to show at the top. Again, I want this fairly in the middle. I'm just thinking whether I should have placed the arms in underneath the head first, but no, I'll let them come in from the side. So I can press this down now. Yeah, I'm liking this already. So for the little feet, I'm using these two. I just thought I'd just pop them here. You could actually, I might actually put them this way round. On here, it's sort of like half circles or half ovals, but I think I would just stick them on like there. Again, if you wanted to, you could cut some, you know, undersides of the paws, or even draw them on. I think I will leave that plain. And again, if you want to do, you can put a little bit of support underneath here, but I'm just keeping it like this. Because it's a sturdy cardstock, it won't show won't leave a mark. So I'm just contemplating whether the arms will be a bit too big now. I think what I will do though is I will cut them off a little bit. First of all, I think I'll place the balloon here. Just thinking, probably overlap a little bit. My idea was for the hedgehog to hold the arm, or hold the balloon. Yeah, I think I need to cut those bits off that overhang, because that looks a bit funny. So I'm just grabbing my pencil here, and I will just mark it on one side. I had this pencil, I think I dipped that in some UV resin earlier, so it doesn't cut very nice, draw very nicely. So I'm just cutting this down, and then I will just take the other one, turn it this way around, align these two, and cut at the same angle. And then they should be the same. Yeah. Yeah. So I will have to put, I'm just contemplating whether I want the balloon a bit raised up and also raise up the arms. I think that could be quite nice. So I think what I will do is I will glue the arms down, but just on the side here, and then I can lift the arms and feed the balloon underneath. Again, I will use my quick grab glue, which I've put here. That dries a little bit faster than the magic glue. So I'm trying to catch the angle that I've cut without it overhanging. Oops, that's the top of my magic glue going on the floor. It's a bit too high. Looks like a different angle now, but I don't want to make a mess out of this. Doesn't matter. So I'll have to leave that to dry again. So I'm just picking up my cap off the floor and I'm getting a pen to draw the mouth. I have already gone ahead and put some Posca pen on the eyes and the nose. I actually tested it here, it was leaking a little bit, and I basically picked this colour up with a nib of the pen and just dabbed it on a bit like this. So picked it up there and dabbed it on. It doesn't stay as white as it is now. You can also use a gel pen. I'm never 100% lucky with these pens, but I think it's nice as it is, and it automatically gives a really nice effect. So now always use some scrap paper to test it first. That's the best thing to do. And for the mouth here, I've got a little bit of scrap paper here. I've got a gel pen, a glaze pen in black. So again, I'm testing this, I'm prepping this here on the side, making sure it flows nicely. Sometimes the tips are a bit crusty. This one's actually not as thick as I thought it'd be. Might have to find a different pen. Yes, I found a different one. Same pen, same make. Not same pen, same make. But this one draws a little bit quicker. So again, I'm just using my mug for reference. So all we need here, sorry it's out of the picture here, is basically it's going down like this and giving him a nice smile. And then I'll try to mimic that on the other side. See, it's already a bit wonky, doesn't matter. Just going over this and make it a bit thicker. You don't have to use a gel pen. You can use an alcohol marker or like a fine liner. I'm a bit worried about an alcohol marker, whether it would bleed on that cardstock. So, but I think this is nice now. So all we need to do now is, sorry, that was my bin making a noise. I just put that in the bin, is to place the balloon underneath here. So as I said, I would like to put some foam tape underneath. I've got this really cheap one here. I don't even know where it's from. I think it might actually be from Poundland when they were still doing it. So I just need to have a think how to place that underneath without sticking anywhere where I don't want it. So I think this is still sticky enough. If not, if you've got some cheap foam tape, you can always put some liquid glue on as well. I know some crafters do that anyway. I remember now what the issue was with this here is the release paper sometimes tears. So I'm just hovering this over here. I'm just pulling these paws up. Oh, only when it wants to stick. I'm trying to pull it over. Yeah, this is why it might be useful to put some liquid glue on there. Don't want it too high. I want it straight. Nope, let me just pull it out again. I need some liquid glue on this. So I'm just using my magic glue. I don't know whether it's Christine Stokes. I think she actually uses Pritt stick. So it gives you just a little bit of wriggle room. Yeah, that's better. So I want this straight. I don't want to cover too much of the face, but a little bit. And when I've got it in place, I can press this down. So I've got a bit of dimension there. Now I don't know if the other camera picks it up. And now I can put glue underneath the paws here to hold the balloon in place. Press that down. If you wanted to, you could put a sentiment on the balloon beforehand, but I wasn't quite sure how much would fit on there, so I thought I'd just leave it as it is. Yeah, I think this is really cute. Not quite like this one, but that was just the inspiration. So, and because we've scored the back card, can now open it up and set it up. Oh, one thing I forgot. Obviously, we need a little base, so we need to cut off a little slither at the bottom. But before I do that, just testing whether I need to cut my inner card down. No, I don't need to do that. So that can be glued on later. And all I do now is get my guillotine and cut really just a slither off. I do this quickly off camera. So the card is finished. This is literally all I've cut off at the bottom. This is all you need. And when you set it up, it doesn't wobble anymore, it doesn't fall over. And I've already put the inner, greeting base in there. Yeah, I think this is really cute. I also had a thought, if you wanted to, you could put just a number here on the front. I think this would make a lovely card for a child as well. And yeah, I'm really pleased with this. I'm glad that I gave it a try, and I quite like the idea that it's really easy to recreate with just your oval nesting dies, round nesting dies, circle punches if you have them. But yeah, I'm really pleased with this. And if you like this one too, you might want to give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more of what I'm creating, you might want to subscribe to my channel. I'd be very happy about that. And I'll see you soon with another video.